that I want to measure her rear foot rather than her forefoot here. And so the corner of my phone is going to be right at the crux of the metatarsal, the head of the fifth metatarsal, and then I'm going to compress through the heel fat pad so that I'm on something firm rather than squishy. I have other colleagues who are a little bit more sensitive to germs and such, and they will put like a pillowcase over the person's foot rather than their phone right on the foot. I don't know, worked on my foot or my phone later. And worked on your foot later too, for that matter. So my handhold is like this, where I have one hand compressing the phone into the heel and the calcaneus such that it moves as one unit. I often cue the patient and saying, when you hear a beep, it's kind of quiet. Yeah, so when you hear a beep, which should sound like that, you're gonna actively dorsiflex. And so we work together to try and get them into as max dorsiflexion as possible. So I will find the plumb line. So I'm gonna bring her right to a neutral rear foot. Go ahead and pull up as far as you can. Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, and we are at 25. And we're still at 25, so we'll take 25. We would measure twice, similar to what we did for the hip, and we would average the two. With the recognition that measuring it once may have loosened tissue or change the viscoelastic properties of that tissue, such that it may go slightly further on the second one, and that's one of the reasons why we average beyond just checking ourselves. Okay, so let's talk criteria. So I expect 20 degrees or more in this position. In the knee bent position, which I'll show you in a moment, I expect 30 degrees. And then in the third, the closed kinetic chain version, I expect 40 degrees. It's kind of easy, 20, 30, 40. You can put this leg straight. We're gonna bend this knee up. So the angle here is gonna be dependent on how vertical her tibia is relative to gravity. So as such, I bring the edge of the phone up to her fibula. I align that and make sure that it reads as close to zero as possible. This is where the second pair of hands is easier because they come in and hold this. In regards to sometimes people are having a lot of tissue tension. Yours is actually really good. So I don't have to like hold the leg there. But sometimes people are tight through their extensor mechanism, and that it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I think we'll be just fine. Okay. Same placement of phone. I compress in. Same thing. When you hear that beep, we're going to go into dorsiflexion. Go ahead. Okay. And then there we are at 22 degrees. Okay. And so that has been a question I get consistently from particularly students, sometimes residents as well, is like, well, how is that possible? Because I was taught in school that the gastroc is on slack here and we should expect to have more here. And you know, there's actually studies that have been done. Again, they're kind of foundational. They look at the cadaver and the fact that as I dorsiflex her, tension in her fascial system, all the way up into her thigh, is also being pulled and going through excursion. So I usually interpret this as like, if there's a limitation here, which relative to our 30 degrees there is, that this may be more of a joint restriction and or fascial restriction somewhere else in the kinetic chain, versus here, if it's I usually think of it as more posterior chain tension of where we need to kind of do our treatment intervention. The other caveat that I would make, sorry, I keep going up and down with your leg, is like, as you dorsiflex, typically people will do this. And they're like, evert. And I'm like, no. Though you want to do best on the test, I get it. We just want to know what you can accurately do. And so I try and keep it in a very sagittal plane versus allowing any eversion. Rarely do they never go into inversion. I never see that. Which makes sense with the coupling of the axes of the foot. So we're gonna click pause there. allow you